glowing star. What if a prince was so lazy that the entire kingdom gave up on him, until one magical challenge forced him to change everything? Stick around to see how the lazy prince shocked everyone with what he became. Sparkles. Backhand index pointing right. Don't forget to like, subscribe to @English Fairy Tales, and tap the bell icon for more magical stories every week. Once upon a time, in the Golden Kingdom of Elrania, there lived a young prince named Cedric, who was known far and wide not for his bravery or wisdom, but for his incredible laziness. While other princes learned the sword, studied diplomacy, or visited villages, Cedric lounged in his silken bed, complaining about how far the dining hall was or how heavy his jeweled crown felt, and while his tutors read about war strategies or history, he'd yawn dramatically and ask if someone could read it aloud while fanning him with peacock feathers, for he claimed he got headaches from too much thinking, which made the entire court despair, for how could such a slothful soul ever become king? His father, King Alderon, a wise and stern ruler, had grown weary of his son's excuses, and his mother, Queen Isolde, though loving, often sighed with disappointment as she watched Cedric ignore his royal duties, preferring naps under the castle fig tree to meetings with diplomats or time spent with his people. The citizens mocked him as the sleeping crown, and many feared the kingdom would fall into ruin when the time came for Cedric to rule. But Cedric, oblivious to their worries, insisted that everything important could be done tomorrow, a tomorrow that never came. The twist in Cedric's tale began on his 18th birthday when the kingdom's ancient oracle, a blind and mystical woman named Vespera, appeared unannounced at the castle gates, demanding an audience with the royal family. Her voice trembled with both wisdom and urgency as she spoke. The fate of Elrania hangs in the balance. In 7 days, a shadow shall rise, and only one of royal blood can stop it. Everyone turned to Prince Cedric, who blinked sleepily and muttered, "Can someone else do it? I've just eaten." Vespera struck her staff against the marble floor, thunder echoing in the hall as if the sky itself were angry, and declared that if Cedric failed to change his ways in 7 days and prove himself worthy, the kingdom would be consumed by darkness, and worse, Cedric himself would be turned into a statue, frozen in his laziness forever. Cedric, of course, laughed it off and asked for more pudding. But that night, something strange happened. His bed vanished. The luxurious sheets, the silk curtains, the golden pillow, all gone. Instead, he found himself lying on a patch of straw in a cold, damp barn, alone and hungry. Every servant, every comfort, every privilege had disappeared, and outside the barn door stood Vespera, smiling with quiet challenge. "Welcome to the real world, Prince." Cedric was furious. He stomped, shouted, demanded his luxuries back, but no one listened. He tried to walk back to the castle, but found the roads twisted, changed, enchanted. The kingdom had been transformed into a maze that could only be escaped through effort, kindness, and courage. With no choice, Cedric began his reluctant journey. At first, he did everything wrong. He tried to bribe villagers with imaginary gold, refused to lift firewood to help an old lady, and fell asleep in a pond while washing off dirt. But each time he failed, something inside him stirred, a flicker of shame, of longing, of something unfamiliar. On the 3rd day, a twist came when he stumbled upon a crying child in the forest who had lost his puppy. Cedric, annoyed, was about to walk away when he remembered how he once lost his pet falcon as a boy and cried alone in the garden. That memory struck a strange chord, and without fully understanding why, Cedric knelt and helped the child search. They spent hours, and Cedric's feet blistered, but at sunset they found the puppy caught in brambles. The child hugged him tightly and whispered, "Thank you, kind sir," and something in Cedric's heart warmed, like the first spark of a fire long forgotten. That night, his straw bed softened slightly, and a warm bowl of soup appeared, his first reward. The days passed, and Cedric slowly changed. He helped a widow rebuild her fence, guided lost travelers through the forest, and even fought off a pack of wolves using only a burning stick. Each act of kindness, each moment of courage, restored a piece of the real world, and Cedric began to see beauty in hard work and joy in helping others. But the 6th day brought the biggest twist yet. He discovered a ruined village, smoldering with black fire, and realized this was the edge of the shadow Vespera had warned about. There, cloaked in smoke, stood a monstrous figure, the Shadow Wraith, a being of pure darkness feeding on fear and sloth. It laughed when it saw Cedric. "You? The lazy prince? Come to save the world?" Cedric trembled, but remembered the people he helped, the warmth in their eyes, the strength he never knew he had. Grabbing a broken sword from the ashes, he faced the shadow, not with skill, but with heart. The battle was fierce, Cedric was thrown, burned, and nearly crushed, but he never gave up. In the final moment, when the shadow tried to feed on his old laziness, Cedric shouted, "I am not who I was," and plunged the blade into the creature's heart. Light burst forth. The village healed. The maze vanished. And Prince Cedric awoke in his castle chamber, but this time not in silk sheets. He was kneeling in the throne room, Vespera and the court before him. "You have passed," the oracle said, and the king and queen, eyes shining, embraced their son. The people no longer called him the lazy prince, they called him the Lionheart of Elrania. And Cedric? He still enjoyed naps, but only after long days of working with his people, defending his land, and writing laws that protected the poor. He had learned that true royalty lies not in crowns or comfort, but in courage, compassion, and the choice to rise when it's easier to rest. And so, the prince who once could not lift a spoon became the king who carried a kingdom. The end.